Hello guys, this is your girl Bruges Place and this is Obodo TV. Today I have a story to tell you and it's surrounding issues around human trafficking. Since I started Obodo TV a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people have reached out to me on social media and sent me messages about one issue or the other to talk about. Some people have subscribed to my channel, and this particular case, it's about one of my subscribers who has given me permission to use their story, just to warn people who are likely to go through the same experience like he did. So it's a story about human trafficking, and I'm going to be telling you the story about a Nigerian. His name, not real name, is Paul. Now, he reached out to me and said, you need to talk to people who are likely to come to Europe or who have the intention of coming to Europe by road. Because when I started talking to him, the first thing he asked was, how did you come to Europe? And I was like, I came by air. Is there any other way? He said, oh, yes, there are loads of other ways to come to Europe. And I was kind of surprised because we know these stories, we hear about them on the TV, we hear of them in Sky News, ITV. I mean, there are so many stories about it, but you don't really meet people who've gone through these experiences one-on-one, and you don't really hear about their experiences. Paul comes from this very big family. He's a Nigerian, young man. Comes from this very large polygamous family. His father had several wives, and his mom was not with his dad, so he was the last one of his mother's children. Altogether, he told me his dad had got over 50 children. So he said, I grew up like an orphan in my father's house. And the father did not have money. He was a poor farmer who could not afford to send his children to school. So even having his initial education for primary and secondary school was a struggle. He said to me, I would never have had any education whatsoever if not for free education that was introduced at that time in Nigeria. So the only time that I had access to education was when Ambrose Ali introduced free education in the then Western Nigeria. So his life as a young man was really, really tough. It was incredibly tough. It was challenging for him. As a young man, he didn't have food, he didn't have clothes to wear. All his life was laboring from morning till night, going to farm with his dad, and tilling the soil. His stepmother, as he said, did not care whether he ate or not because his mom was not there. So nobody looked after him. So he had a very, very difficult childhood. So at a point in his life, things became so difficult that he did not have a choice but to leave his father's home to look for greener pastures. So he went to the bigger city, which was close to his hometown. And there he was just, moving from one friend's place to the other, trying to struggle, to make a living, but things were really difficult. So it's in the midst of, this hardship and this very difficult life that he met the traffickers. Now, these traffickers came in form of friends, and they said to him, oh, if you are able to raise so and so amount of money, we can take you to Europe. And they made it sound as if it's such an easy journey. And they said, oh, this is the route. They will show you this is the route. You get to Morocco. This is how you go from Kano. You go to Morocco. From Morocco, as you're standing in Morocco, you're looking at Spain. It's so easy. So just pay us 100,000. In his young mind, he felt like, okay, this must be a better option than what I'm going through now. So he fell for it. He said he worked really, really hard, went out of his way, sold everything valuable that he had just to raise that money to be able to come to Europe. But what they didn't say to him was the fact that it's a journey of life and death. They didn't tell him that he's not likely to make it to Europe. So he trusted them and he paid them 100,000 with a couple of his friends. And the first thing he said to me, he said, you know what? Out of 50, if you have 50 people that set off on this journey, 90% of you will not make it. So they started all the way from Edo State, to Kano. They paid the trafficker, and they thought that, okay, the money that they paid is enough to take them to Europe, but they were wrong. So the minute they got to Kano, they met with other, groups of people from all over Nigeria, people who came from other parts of Africa, and everybody who was desperate, including women. some women with children who were willing, you know, who were desperate, so desperate, in such impoverished and, you know, such, you know, living conditions that, you know, it was like that is their only way out, that is the only option. So it sounded like a very good idea for them to go to Europe. Who would want to come to Europe? Europe is, you know, where the dream life is, where you have access to a better life. You have a job, you might have access to go to school and all that, but they were wrong. So from Kano, the journey started and they went. The first thing the traffickers did was to take them, you know, strip them of all their valuables, every money that they came with, even though they have paid them. He said to me that at a point, he had to, you know, roll the little money that I had on him, rolled it inside food and swallowed. I said, swallow food? He said, yes, because that is the only way. They will take everything that you have from you, even though you have paid them. So he said to me, I didn't know it was possible to swallow food, but I'm telling you that I swallowed 100,000 naira. And for people who don't know what 100,000, Nigerian money is quite bulky. So 100,000, we are looking at, you know, piles and piles of money, you know. So it's not like $1 bill or two, or it's not like, you know, money that you, if it's pounds, that you probably have a few bills that will make up to 100,000. We are talking about money that will be some quantity. So he had to swallow it. And what did they do to him? You know, because they already know the tricks. They already know what, you know, people that they are trafficking will do. So he said, you know, the trafficker came to him and said, where is the money that you have? He said, he lied. He said, I don't have any money. I've paid you. You promised you're going to take me to Europe and I haven't got any money. They beat him. They tied him up. They tied his legs and his hands back and they hung him on a tree facing down. And then they put what they call ori, which is like a, you know, people from Nigeria will know what ori is. It's an ointment. It's like an oily ointment. So they put the raw one. They put it inside hot water, and they gave him to drink. What he did was that in a matter of a few minutes, he went toilet, and every money that he had swallowed, which he was keeping, you know, for his own safekeeping for the future, he excreted everything. He took the money, washed it, and took it off him. That was where his struggle started. So, Paul and about 50 people took a jeep from Kano. You know, when they got to, the journey was very, very turbulent. I mean, this jeep is a jeep. I mean, I haven't seen any jeep that can take 50 people. It's not like a trailer or a double-decker bus or anything like that, but they adapted it in such a way that it can take, you know, they loaded them, you know, loaded human beings up like sardine. And this same jeep will carry their water, it will carry the food that they will need to eat in the desert. And this time around, they were already in Mali going into the desert. Now, this is where the trouble started. The traffickers have no route because it's a desert. There's no route, there's no road. So they keep trying. They will go this way. If it doesn't lead anywhere, they will come back. They will go this way. So they keep doing try and error, guessing. At a point, their petrol finished. So they did not have petrol. What can they do? Come down and start walking. By now, the food has finished. There was no food and there was no water. So they started trekking in the desert. I mean, for those of you who have been to Dubai or you've been to anywhere in around that area, you know what a desert is. The heat in a desert is somewhere that nothing grows. It's death. If nothing grows in the desert, it's a land of death. So they started trekking. And as they were trekking, people were getting tired. And as they were getting tired, they were falling. And they were dying. And as they die, nobody even bury to say, let me try and bury you. You don't even have the energy there because you are so tired, you are hungry, you are hot, you are thirsty. So at that point, he said he started praying to God. He started praying, God, please see me through this. He said he saw his friends. He said, I've seen people die in a way that, you know, I have never in my life imagined, you know. So people started dropping and dying daily. Say you will just be working with somebody and the next minute that person is funny and you are saying, oh boy, what's happened? Oh boy, try now. You say, no, I don't have energy anymore. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I don't tire. I don't fit again. The heat is killing me. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. And that's it. Then they will move on and leave the person. So at a point when the thirst and the hunger became too much, what did they have to do? He was even the one that brought the suggestion because they remember from when, you know, he went to school in Nigeria that, you know, about liquid, what he did in school. So they started, he brought the suggestion for them to start drinking their urine. Can you imagine? For someone to be so desperate that there's no other way out, there's nothing for you to do but, you know, you will pee, give to someone to drink, and the other person will pee and give you to drink. He said, I have drank human urine over 100 times. That was the only way we could survive. At this point, when he was telling me the story initially, I was in tears. I was crying so much that, you know, my children came and said, what's wrong? Because, you know, just the inhumanity of these people and how suffering, pain, and how, you know, human lives is like it means nothing. And that's how they struggled and struggled and struggled until some of them died, majority of them died, and some of them managed to get to Morocco. In Morocco, that was another level of suffering for them. He said they were in the bush. The bush is called Melelia Bush, where they stay. They form camps, you know, where they sleep in the bush because, you know, you have no house, you have nothing, you have no food. So they were staying in this bush, hoping that, you know, someday there will be a hope for them to cross. So from the bush, he said he will wake up in the morning, he will go into the city and start to beg from one house to the other. So some people will give him little money. From there he will buy food, you know, he will buy water that he will go and eat. The police will come several times, they will raid them, they will beat them up, you know. Those people who have, if you haven't seen any video about this issue that I'm talking about, you need to go to my Facebook page and go and see, or go to YouTube and just Google it, and you will see they break their hands and their feet, they break their wrists, so that those who want to climb, you know, the fence cannot climb, and those who are planning to run cannot run, they cannot swim. It's a desperate situation. It's a very desperate situation. You have no money, you have no friends, you have no relative, you have no loved one. And then he said he began to ask himself, why have I put myself in this situation? He said, I would have given anything to go back to Nigeria if I had my way. But I was stuck. There was nowhere for me to go. I couldn't go back, I can't go forward, I am stuck. So Paul was in Morocco for 2 whole years, sleeping in this Melelia bush, begging for a living, trying to, you know, save a little bit of the money that he's begging, you know, to be able to pay the traffickers, you know, to take him across Morocco, because it's not the money that you pay them for them to bring you from, you know, Nigeria. That is the money. This is a different set of people now that you are, you know, you have to entrust yourself to for them to take you to cross. And I'm talking about crossing the Mediterranean. This is the Mediterranean Sea that millions and billions of African people continue to risk their lives to cross year in, year out, just because they want to get to Europe. Now, crossing the Mediterranean is another ball game altogether. So, you can either go on this smuggler's ship, for which you need to pay them, or they will take you by crossing you. You know, they have swimmers who will cross you with rope and they will tie you to themselves and float you, and then you just pray, and you pray that everything goes well. If it doesn't, well, you're on your own. So he said when they got there, the few of them that managed to get to the Mediterranean, you know, crossing the day that they were supposed to cross, he said, you know, so many of them said, no, I can't do this, this is too much for me, I cannot do this. You know, so some people didn't have the courage to go through. But he said to himself, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep living in the bush? Am I going to keep, you know, begging for a living? I have to try. So he said, I trusted God and I prayed and I asked God, please help me. He said to me, he said, I know that God heard me. Because out of the 50 people who set out on this trip, it was only 10 of them that made it to Morocco. And from Morocco, crossing that Mediterranean Sea to get to Spain, so many people did not make it. They didn't make it because the boats are not made for the number of people that they will crown on. They will get people from all over the world and they will pack them like sardine again. And if anything happens, you're on your own. Most Nigerians cannot swim. So even if you can swim, from where are you going to swim from where to where? So you drown. So when you see people in Nigeria who say they are going or they just disappear, you don't see them, you think they are going abroad, they probably would have died along the way. So millions and millions of people have lost their life on this trip. So the story of Paul is that 2.5 years from leaving his town in Nigeria, he finally made it. He made it to Spain after losing everyone that he knows. But by this time he was traumatized. He suffered from hunger, starvation, post-traumatic stress disorder, just name it, all sorts of anxiety and whatever you can name. This young man has been through it. So I asked him, I said, if you see someone who wants to go through the same experience, what would you say to them? He said, I beg them, please tell them. You have this platform of Obodo TV. Please tell them, tell my people in Nigeria, no matter how bad it is, no matter your situation, just find something to do. Whatever it is you can do, at least you are alive. The journey of crossing from Nigeria and trusting a trafficker who will lie to you, who will deceive you, who will rape and probably, put your life in danger. So many women raped, so many men abused along the way is not worth it. And he said to me, he said, well, you know what? I prefer to be in Nigeria earning 10,000 naira with peace than being here. Because what you guys don't know, if you're watching me from back home in Africa, there are no jobs in Spain. There are no jobs in Italy. Even their own citizens do not have jobs. First of all, when you get there, you are faced with a language barrier. They don't speak English, so you have to learn the language. How easy it is for an adult to learn a language without any support, without going to any school, without receiving any kind of support to learn a language. So you can't even work, because coming into another country does not guarantee you that you are going to get a job, because you do not have papers. Most of people who live in Nigeria or who live in Africa don't understand that just even those who have visas, that does not guarantee you that you're going to get a job. No, you cannot work because you need to have the right to work in any country that you go to. So he has no job. So it's from one struggling to the other, suffering. He's just at this point thanking God that he's alive. And Paul said to me, please tell them, do not go through it. Whatever it is that you are going through back home in Nigeria. You see, a lot of people want to build flats, 4 flats. They want to build houses. They want to build mansions. They want to buy, expensive cars. It is only when you are alive that you can build houses. Some people even build houses, they cannot live in it. So what is the point of risking your life, endangering your life, just because you want to get to Europe? If you are so desperate that there's no way out. Because I don't blame people who put themselves in that danger because they know there's risk. But out of desperation, hopelessness, nothing to rely on, no help from anywhere, they put themselves, they say, okay, I do this or I die. Go to an embassy, look for somebody look for somebody who can help you get your visa to go to wherever country you want to go to. Do not fall into the trap of traffickers. They will lie to you, they will collect your money, they will take you to the desert, they will allow you to die. Millions and millions of Nigerians are dying in the desert. They are dying in the Sahara Desert. They are dying and drowning in the Mediterranean Sea just because they want to get to Europe. And when you get to Europe, you are a second-class citizen. Yes. He said that to me. Paul said that to me. He said, you know what? I'm a second-class citizen here. I work in a farm. But you see, people that come to Africa most times don't tell you the truth about how Europe is. Because when they are coming, they will go and buy new clothes and be shining. But here in Obodo TV, I promise to always keep it real with you. And I will always tell you the truth about how life is in Europe, in America, and wherever we are abroad. And I'm telling you that Europe or America or wherever you think people are and they are living such grand life is not what it seems. It is not what it seems. Let me tell you something. Here, when you see people who come to Africa and they buy 20 cars, they buy 100 cars and they ship that down, in most cases, The way they get that money is mago mago. And let me tell you something, you cannot get away with crime here as much as you do in Africa. If you do fraud, they will catch you. If you do crime, they will catch you and they will jail you. And you know, once you have a criminal record against your name, your own don't finish. You cannot get a good job. You cannot get a decent job, because wherever you are going to look for a job, they will check your criminal, they will check your records to see if you had any problem with the police or with the law. And if they see that you've been arrested or that you've been to jail, that's it. You cannot have it's going to affect your future. So don't be deceived by people who will come and they will be showing off and be telling you they are living large. Is a lie. It's a lie. Honest, hard-working Africans who come overseas, they work hard for their money, and they haven't got any money to throw around like that. They haven't got any money to be dishing around like that, because they work hard for their money and they pay their bills. So all I'm saying, the summary of my whole story, and for what Paul has given me the permission to share with you that is watching me now, or for people who you may know back home in Nigeria, please don't endanger your life by coming to Europe on road. Do not trust traffickers who will come and tell you there's a job waiting for you in somewhere in Europe, and just pay me this money, I will take you there. It is a lie. They are coming to enslave you. They are coming to put you in danger that will kill you. Your life is more precious than money. Your life is more precious than 4 flats that you want to build. Keep trusting whatever you are doing and keep doing it. And keep hoping, you know, and believing that things are going to get better. There is no situation that you are in Africa that will be worse than coming to Europe by the desert, or coming to Europe by traffickers, because they will exploit you, they will abuse you, they will sexually rape the women, they will do all sorts of abuse to you, and you have nobody to talk to. So please warn people who you know that might put themselves in that risk. It is not worth it. It's been your girl Bridget Ekpo. I hope you've enjoyed this video this week. I know it's quite intense and it's a bit longer than I usually do, but the issue I'm addressing this week is really quite serious, and I hope that one or two persons out there who is listening to me or watching this video would have learned something from it. The bottom line is, please do not fall into the trap of traffickers. Do not come to the desert or come to Morocco or Libya trying to cross to Europe. It is not as easy as it seems. It is not as easy as they will present it to you. Stay alive and stay hopeful that your life will be better and things will be better for you. Until I come your way again next time, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video to all your contacts. Thank you. Bye bye.